Well, Donnie, we're back. Welcome again, boys, to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie Show, episode number 37. Mr. Lane Neimann's our guest tonight. So,
yes.
But before we get into Mr. Lane, I know that we had a bunch of people on that feed, and unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, and it booted us out. So, I was able to play your dance, and then it just booted us out. So, we're just going to start over. So, as individuals continue to join the new feed, just want to go ahead and get out there and say hi to Mr. PJ Rains, Mr. Rich Wagner. Welcome to the show. Mr. Russ DeLute tells us that Kyle sucks as a producer. I mean, we just love Rusty for those, those comments.
Yeah.
So we definitely
need Russ in these.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize. I apologize about the technical there to start the show. If it's on my end, hopefully everything looks good for you guys. If you guys could just let us know in the chat how it looks. I've pretty much turned everything off in my room here and just kind of letting the phone take all the internet. Hopefully it sounds and looks good for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now I don't think we have any problems. I think we're good to go. What I was saying was, as I said before, I just want to make sure that this is well seen on the show. Yeah, we did that before, but but for those individuals out there, I don't know, Danny, we showed your dance before. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to it. It kind of like deleted. So I think everyone can go on social media and see your dance. I don't want to screw up the feed again, but I did play it on the previous feed. We had a bunch of people laughing, so it was an incredible dance, Donnie. I appreciate you owning up to, your word. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You did it. I just wanted that I did it and that you didn't hold it against me any longer, that I wasn't holding up my end of the bar. We'll definitely not lose anymore because that is quite embarrassing. I will tell you, I already had my uncle text me and say, "What are you doing? Why are you on TikTok?" So I had to quit that. I'm being bullied on social media because of you.
Oh, hey, you know what? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be a very, good influence in your life, not a bad influence, as many would say. But at the same time, we actually had an event today that we actually went out and played. It was the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie golf outing.
Yeah, we had the 4 participants in the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie golf outing. I'm still getting text messages about the dance as we speak. Nick Drabel just texted me and said your dance was fire, which is awesome. Yeah, we had a couple comments asking who won all the skins. Jimmy, why don't you mention who won the skins today during our golf match?
Well, you know what? Instead of doing that, why don't we just play a quick video?
Okay.
I've got one. Well, I'm not even going to show the putts when I parted and you got a bogey. I think I'm not going to show that. Yeah. We're going to show the one where you actually look better. So hold on.
Thanks.
Now on the tee box, Mr. Matt Dozen. Boo! Boo! Money line blows. Boo!
I don't think our money line guys like that much.
Ranked 8th at Uncle Jimmy's standings.
9th, not at all.
It's a good looking shot, right in the sand. Nice job, Maddie. Oh, over. Bounced. All right. Now on the tee box.
Donnie Cusper?
Donnie You used to play for Wallace Cosper.
Retired from the game a while ago.
Yeah.
Now focuses on 18 holes every Sunday.
Incredible, huh?
PXG customer.
And
Simple.
for the guys, we just want to make sure that everyone was able to see this today.
That way, people, when they want to play golf with us, they know they'll be put on.
Yeah, that's true.
Drawing a little left.
Oh, there's little Uncle Jimmy.
Left rough, just past the bunkers on the left side. Here he is. The man of the hour.
How you doing, sir?
James Moretti. What do you got there? What club, James?
I'm glad we were able to take out a Thomas
pitching
Cicero
wedge?
work
Okay.
work employee today, along with the guaranteed rate.
Guaranteed rate at a nice, easy day at the office. Thomas Cicero doesn't need any help anyway.
Looking a little left of the green. Take left down, left of the green. It's all right. Good. Easy up and down for you.
Yeah.
Easy up and down for you.
Little up and down.
This is great. This
Been
is
doing that
high-level
all day.
stuff, Jim.
Donnie finally beat me on the last hole. First hole of the day. He birdied, I parred. Now, Donnie, Mr. Cousin Donnie Rollins on the tee box.
Pitching wedge, Jim.
Dude, it went right in the water. We don't need to show the end.
Yeah, of course. 13 feet past the hole. Simple game.
So that was our day today.
Yeah.
It was a good day. I obviously see why you work for a golf place. So
Thank you.
congrats on your 71 today. It was incredible.
Thank you. Thank you for putting that out there. I like that you're giving me some credit. I appreciate that. You rarely do. So when I get it from you, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
71 today. Jimmy hit the ball nice off the tee. Struggled a little on the greens and around the greens, I would say.
Yeah. I had a good back nine. That whole 9 was brutal, boy.
Yeah. That was tough on you. So
Yeah, but either way, I think the back 9 was great. So that was an incredible day out there. We had fun. I mean, we had beautiful weather. Can't complain. You know what I mean?
Just next time you want to play golf in the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie, just know that we'll videotape you and online.
Hey, dude, Maddie hit a good shot, and so did Donnie. We were all like right there, so it wasn't
Donnie,
bad.
they weren't at all.
Yeah. So hey, they were not camera shy. But let's get into. We've kind of already played your dance. I'm sure the world has seen your dance, so we've already passed that. We talked about a little bit of golf, and before we bring on Mr. Lane Neimann, it's my understanding. Mr. Lane Neimann's a Hall of Famer. He's a part of a couple different Hall of Fame teams that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. You had the, I guess, honor of kind of playing with him last year on iron, if I'm correct, right?
Yep. I played Lane last year, and like 3 or 4 years ago when he was with it was March at the time, and then turned nuts. And he's all business out there, to be honest. I mean, he's fantastic to play. He's not soft. He's going to tell you exactly how it is. Right. And he helped me a lot. I mean, I played a full season every day for him last year, and he helped me a ton. Pitching, first base, hitting. I mean, Lane, I can tell why people truly respect and kind of enjoy playing for Lane. He's the best.
Right. No, 100%. So I do hear you clear as day. You're starting to freeze up, though, a little bit on me. But no, you're moving now. You're better now. But either way, I think that Lane's is a gentleman who's been around the game long enough to know the good of the game, the bad of the game, and I think he'll be able to tell us a lot of his opinions around when he first started compared to what the game is today, which is what we like to talk about a ton. We also get into a lot of the, our famous question of what we can do to improve softball, but I just want to hear some of the history of softball. We're kind of using this month as the Hall of Fame month, per se, with the ballot closing on the 29th, which is a couple days away. We felt like this month should be really dedicated to all the past Hall of Famers. and people that we have currently honored, coming up this year, along with people of the past. So I know, I think next week we have some good guests in mind. I think next week's going to be incredible too. So, but why we
Yep.
do this week? Are you ready, Donnie? I know you're freezing up there. You're back down. It looks like you're glowing now.
There we
Are
go.
you
I'm just
ready to
trying
go ahead and get?
yeah, whenever you'd like. I'm just trying to turn some things off so I don't take up any more of the Wi-Fi. It's not about me. It's Lane Senior. So go ahead and bring him in if you're ready. If you can see me, okay, guys in the chat, I appreciate you hanging in there. Russ DeLuce said, I hope Lane tells you that your internet sucks. He probably will. He's pretty straightforward with me a lot. We appreciate you guys. I mean, we've had actually some pretty bad weather around here.
Yeah.
It's been raining pretty hard, and I know we had a tornado not too far away from here. The internet probably is affected by that. So I apologize about it. Not much I can do about that. But go ahead and, Jimmy, bring him on.
Maybe hop on your phone. Maybe get off and hop on your phone when I bring Lane on. Before I do that, I'm actually going to I'm going to get to the stream really quick. I want to say hello to Jack Marino, Tiggy Jones, Brian Preston, Ross DeLude, as you mentioned. Our boy Drew from Iowa's on. Pops is on. Welcome, Pops. Mr. Phil, Jim Salmons is on. Welcome, guys. Marty Dozen's on, so appreciate you guys all joining on. But let's get to Lane really quick. Mr. Lane, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How about you guys?
I'm doing well. Your internet seems to be phenomenal. Donnie's not so much. We're getting a lot of. We can hear him clear as day. He's just very ghosty on us. He freezes and then so and so. So, but either way, no one's here to watch Donnie anyways. We're here to talk to you, Lane. So, so welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by Deacon Tap. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's anything we can do that you guys have been doing. Like you said, 37th show to promote the game. I'm 100% for it.
Yep, I definitely appreciate that. And, I know we've kind of been talking a little bit about, the Hall of Fame this month. We've been talking about, we made this our Hall of Fame month with our show from last week with all the current ballot people. We know the ballot ends, as I mentioned, on the 9th of this month. So, we felt like someone who's been in the Hall of Fame, I think you mentioned 3 different times, you kind of get your way in individually and in a couple different teams. We felt, especially with your name being popped up week over week over week from some of our guests, we thought it was only right to bring you on the show. So we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and talk softball with us. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And I appreciate you recognizing some of us old guys. But, I've been around the game now for 3 years, really involved since my sons actually started playing. And it's great to be able to go out there. And like I says, my son's with Iron now. I got Danny Atkins. I mean, he treats me like part of the family. My son loves playing for him. And they let me coach a base and hang around. And I still watch a lot of softball. I try to help when I can. Not that firm, but I do have suggestions from time to time. I've seen a lot of things. So
right. So, one of the things, Lane, you mentioned, your coaching bases and you got your Iron shirt on there, and I see that. Tell us a little bit about Iron before we get into you. Tell us a little bit about Iron, because I know they've made some moves this year to really improve the squad. I know they picked up one of my close friends, CJ, and I know they got Joe, and you guys got some Chapo and a couple other individuals that basically can improve Iron's team overall. What's the outlook for Iron this year? What's your guys' goals? What are you guys looking at?
Well, I think we got a nice mix of veterans, and I think we have some of the that are only going to get better. Like he says, Danny's son Tyler in left field, certainly becoming a star leadoff hitter. Nate is incredible. Billy, this new kid we got, Brian. They call him Matt because he's got 3 cousins or something all named Brian, but he came on like he's the type of kid you can put anywhere. So, and then with our veteran guys like Kalaga and Memo, and then bringing over the guys that smack out, former smack out guys, signature guys, whatever. Joe, Big Joe, and Chapo. I think it filled some much. Donnie left us, so we obviously needed a pitcher. So,
well, Lane, it's okay, Lane, because this has been floating around the internet all day. All right, so I don't know if you could see that, but
no one can read your stupid signs, Jimmy.
It's been floating around the internet all day. I don't know if you saw Donnie's dance, but it was kind of incredible. We had it on the feed, and then I don't know, for some reason our feed shut down. It was so bad.
No, I watched, and like I said, I told him the shoes were a nice touch.
Thanks.
That's like when he's pitching. He gets
Yeah. So for those individuals that want to see the dance, they can go to our TikTok page at Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie, or they could see it on Facebook as well. So I think, Donnie, before we even got on, I think it's got over 2,000 views or 2,000 views already in like a matter of an hour. So
I moved the needle, Jim, is what I do. You need views. You get the kids some dance. You get some music going. You get dancing. If you call me, I'll do it. Really quick, Jim, does it look a little bit better? I set the stream. Does it look any better now, or still kind of freezing up?
You're a little better.
Right.
I'm not going to say you're fully there, but you're definitely better than what you were before.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take a little bit better. Sorry about this, guys. I apologize, but Lane, I wanted to say thank you very much for coming on the show, and obviously one of my favorite people in softball, and I've had the privilege to kind of play with you on the team. It's funny you mention all these guys like Tyler and Nate and Billy Quirk, and you never mention your own son. You never mention Lane Jr. on the team. No credit for him whatsoever.
It's not that I don't have no credit for him, but I think his play should prove. I think people know him.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a lot to learn, but I think he's improving, and he loves the game, which is 4 daughters. He's my only son. He came 7 years after my youngest daughter, so it took me a very long time to get him to practice. But that boy came. I had to have a boy, and it's fantastic because he's got the same drive and desire that I had for the game and to love it. So.
Yeah.
Well, we do
unfortunately. Go ahead. I was going to say, unfortunately, last year he was injured a lot. I mean, he hurt his calf playing with us last year, and then I think he broke his finger before one of the games started, and he still wanted to play. He was out there all the time. He's like, I can swing, I just can't run. He wanted to play.
He had a mono, took him 6 weeks out because of his spleen. Yeah, he had a rough year, but he looking forward to a good year this year. So, and we're excited about Iron. Like I says, I probably missed a few names there, and I apologize, but we're excited about the pickups. And Danny's super underrated. The guy is so loyal to his veteran guys. Memo and Kalaga had great hitting years last year. They're going to help us, and I just appreciate the way he goes about business. And like I said, I think he put us in a position right now. I had nothing to do with any of this. It's all Danny, the guys he picked up, everything. I have nothing to do with any of that. So I think he's put the team in to be pretty successful.
Well, Lane, I just want to really quick say that your sister Carrie says you're the best older brother she's ever had.
Well, he's a boy.
Oh, okay. It says Carrie. Maybe it's a boy. Okay, maybe it's your brother. I don't know. It looks like Carrie. It looks like a female in the picture. Does it not? Or is that his wife?
That's a 380-pound female you got there.
Hey.
6'4", 380. So.
Well, either way, your brother says you're the best older brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So,
thanks.
And not only that, I was trying to be nice tonight to wear a hat because I didn't want to show off my good hair. I know you're bald, and Donnie comes with a full head of hair.
I have a couple. Yeah, you guys got great. Bergeron, who's at the top of the charts with the hair. So, yeah, I'm definitely follically challenged.
Well, Lane, let's get into some softball talk about yourself. I've already butchered your brother, so I'm sure he's gonna be upset with me, but that's okay. Either way, why don't you give us a little background about yourself? How'd you get started in softball? I know you mentioned you're in a couple different Hall of Fame things, but give us a little background about you, Lane, when you started, kind of how you got involved with softball, and then, kind of lead us up to present.
Well, I got on this police team that played out of North Riverside, and I never played 16 in softball. In grammar school, we had the rag ball we threw around a little bit with a bat that was from the 1920s. So I never really played softball. I played baseball. And then after that, I was playing, semi-pro leagues in different areas playing baseball. Well, they have this police team, and I'm a young guy, so I came out for this police team, and we played in North Riverside. And we were probably the Bad News Bears would have beat us by 55. We were horrible. We went 0-14 in the summer league, and there wasn't even a close game. I think we got run in all 14, and we were playing, I think, girl teams and a couple church teams. So murder. So that fall, I took it upon myself to start my own team, and I got a couple of guys from my baseball team, Jerry Berger, Jeff's brother, and a couple others, and we did about 500 in the fall. And now, mind you, this is not a top league or anything. And the next year, I worked in North River. We had Joe Rizza Ford in town. Mr. Rizza and his son Philip were my friends. I went to them, got a good sponsorship, started the Rockers, and we played in North, won the league first year right off the bat. So then we, started dipping our toes in the water. We started playing a few tournaments, and we were looking for a couple players. So Jerry tells me, "Hey, I got this guy. He's my brother. He's super cocky, but unbelievable." Now, remember at the time, Jeff's like 19. Got all, right, Ray Cyrus proud of him. I mean, it was unbelievable. So he comes out first game, and it took me about 4 seconds to realize that, yeah, he's cocky. He comes up to me. I told him at an eighth and playing left field, and he said, "He's taking that at me." I go, "What do you? You're bad." He said, "We're playing in North Riverside, and there's a fence, and there's a railroad track up there." He said, "Leave me off. I'm going to hit the ball up on the railroad track, and I'll go to center field." So I hit the ball up on the railroad tracks, and he played the whole year. So somehow we got a bid. We played a couple tournaments, nationals in Indianapolis. First play, this guy's on first play of the first game, hit the shortstop, his back locks up. Here comes Jeff Mullet running in from the outfield. "Hey, man, put me at shortstop." "Jeff, listen, you're a center fielder. You make diving catches. No way." He goes, "Dude, I'm telling you, just put me at shortstop." Well, we ended up fourth in the A Nationals in Indianapolis, and we had one All-American, Jeff Berger, for shortstop. I think
For some reason, it doesn't shock me too much.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how I got started in that league. And then, like it says, you take the top 4 in the national PSA, you're major.
Yep.
They're going down, jumping around. Next year, you're major. So when we played in the A Nationals, I don't think there was a guy on my team. Maybe little Sammy Dodano played right field for me. He might have been the one who ever even played in a national.
Right.
No clue what was going on or what we were doing. But now we're a major team. So the next year we got in better leagues, and we got roughed up. And then, of course, I had great young players on the team. I had, like says, Berger. I had Ziegler. Yeah, Berger. Everybody was calling for these guys. They all wanted to play with them. All the big teams. So, like I said, we had some nice young players, but teams used the reserve farm team. So every year we would compete. We were about a 500 team. We went to North Riverside League, was pretty much a church league. But, we go to these other leagues to get beat up. We played almost every weekend.
Right.
The guys, we went out, we played major. And boy, did we get beat up. So when you're a team like that, major teams can come calling, and guys leave. So I learned that for the first 5 or 6 kind of settle in. And then I got this leadoff hitter. His name was Jimmy Jr. McCarthy.
Yes.
My left fielder. He was like 17, and we'd lose him because he was college football at North Park. And I picked up a guy named Marty Dozen, and it kind of settled in. Things started settling in. Those two guys were awesome. Marty was my 3-hitter short. Junior was my leadoff hitter, left fielder. Stickler stayed with me. Jeff had already went on. He came to me. Jeff, one of my best friends to this day. Zig's my good friend. Jimmy McCarthy. These guys are my friends. Marty Dozen. They're the ones I talk to that I still hang out with. So Jeff came to me and says, "Hey, man, they're looking at me. They're calling. Not ready yet, but you go." And he did. But he would always come back if I needed him for a tournament and, different things. He would always help us out no matter what.
That's great.
Go ahead, Donnie.
That's
here.
awesome.
I got first trophy. I don't know if you guys could see it. The first ASA trophy, 1988. That's the first trophy we won. This is the Forest Park we won. And here's they talk about the old style tournament all the time. I know they bring that back to 100 teams. You see the old style can in there?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's cool. The Grand Park?
I have another 50 trophies somewhere. And like I haul back there and stuff. So I brought the old style one out because, like I said, I think they had about 100 teams, and we ended up, I think, third there. So
that's a great collection.
Yeah, we're getting some comments. I just want to hop to the feed really quick. I want to say hi to some people. Obviously, Randy Nelson, welcome. Mark Manizzi, welcome. Scotty Erdecki. Mario Martinez has joined. Mario Martinez is a gentleman who actually owns a bar in Fox Lake. Oh. So welcome, Mario. I appreciate you joining the feed. Mickey Balestri says that we have some bad audio from Lane. You keep breaking up a little bit. I do notice that, but it seems like you're okay now. Jeff Hernandez, welcome. Jeremy Lafrano, welcome. Ross DeLute says it's Donnie's fault. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate that.
Of course.
Mr. Mike Velasco, welcome. Robbie Grisano's just joined the feed. Phil Coppersmith, welcome. Brian Mahoney just joined, and Jack Harrigan, welcome. So Lane, you kind of gave us the background, how you started, showed us some of the trophies and things like that. You brought up some players that I think you've played, and I know, Donnie, why don't we get into one of your famous questions that you always ask our guests?
Yeah, I always ask individuals, like Jimmy said, you play with a lot of great players and a lot of great teams. Who's somebody that you didn't get the chance to play with, or someone that you didn't get a chance to coach that you always wanted to?
Well, one would be Mark Holstein, because God knows he beat me enough. Hit more bombs than anybody I've seen. This guy should have been a fighter pilot in World War II, as many bombs as he dropped. He's one of them. Izzy Sanchez, I know he came out a couple of times, maybe helped me out with a few things. And maybe Jimmy Madlock, he helped me out on a couple of tournaments too, but I never got like a whole season actually coaching them. But those were hard-nosed players that I loved the way they played. When they stepped between the lines, they were there to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you talk about bringing in like the Marty Dozens and the Jeff Bergers when they first started playing. Where does that eye come from to sort of bring these guys into softball? How do you recruit almost, or what do you see in the younger kids that makes you think like these guys are going to be really good softball players?
Well, first of all, they got to have desire. If they want to play, you get the reputation. I think we won the North Riverside League, I don't know how many years in a row. So that area right there, Berwyn, North Riverside, RB High School, I got a ton of guys. Timmy Cutt from there, Scotty Kopak. These guys stayed with me for a long time and played with me. And and they would bring in their friends, Brian Kennebrew and you kept restocking because I would lose some of the young guys to the better teams, but I was never afraid to get some young guys. I really enjoyed helping them, showing them certain things. And that was kind of more important at the beginning until, helping the young players through than winning, even though I wanted to win. Don't get me wrong. I mean, everybody says they're competitive. Everybody's competitive. I don't know anybody walking around. I want to be a loser. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
That's Jimmy on the golf course, Lane.
Jimmy? No.
That's Jimmy right on the golf course.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, he'll hit you with a thumb.
There we go. There it is. But, I asked that question because you brought so many really unbelievable players into the game. Like Jeff Berger gave you a shout out as soon as he started talking, and JJ and Junior McCarthy said the same thing. Like, I wouldn't have been the player I am without you. So I think that's super high praise, and it's cool to see that those guys still kind of resonate and are still part of your life, which is great.
Yes, like you said, some of my best friends in the whole world. They go to my daughter's weddings, and these are guys that are stand-up guys. With the RZA Rockers, it was always about family too. So everybody that came out to the games, the wives, the girlfriends, their kids, they all got shirts and hats and jackets. And Mr. RZA bought at the end of the year everybody varsity jackets, $175 a piece. I mean, it was more about the family. That was great, and we were very fortunate to get a sponsor like Joe RZA Ford. Believe me, he never asked for anything. All he wanted us to do was look good. He said, "You got my name on the back. You guys better look good and don't get a bar sponsor." He didn't want people drinking and then getting in the car and then get an accident with Joe RZA on there, and I don't blame him. So,
oh yeah, makes a ton of sense. You mentioned sponsors, and you mentioned some great names, Joe RZA and things like that. I think this is a perfect segment because this is when yesterday we talked about, you brought up an idea that we should run a pool square as a sponsor for some of the new teams that are coming in from out of state. So I just want to make sure that we throw that out there right now because Lane, that's part of, thanks to you and little Mickey Blestry for putting all that together for us. So thank you on that. He gave us the idea. Mickey is handling that, helping us sell those squares. The NCAA square pool that we're running is $100 square pool. And all the money that we raise, obviously we're paying out 90%, but the 10% is going hopefully to some out-of-state teams that are going to come in for nationals. That is our plan. So we appreciate you for that. We appreciate Ricky Blestry for pretty much doing all of Donnie's work on his
100%.
side. Donnie hasn't sold a single square.
No, hold on. I sold one square, and it was to my mother.
That's true.
So don't cut all the credit out for me, Jim.
That's true. He did one to his mother, Lane. But either way, I want to ask you about softball. We're talking about some of those teams that you started with and so on. He mentioned some of the players that you didn't get a chance to play with, but what I want to ask you is from then till now, what is the difference in softball to you?
Well, I really don't see a ton of difference. I think the kids nowadays are in much better shape. When these teams come out, the top teams, you got your 45s, your Flash, your BTAs, High Y, Hex, Moneyline, Circus. The very signature. I mean, the top teams, these guys are all in good shape. Every guy, you got outfields that got 3 kids that could run. They're fantastic. It's funny because we talked yesterday about this. And so I looked it up. In 1998, Mount Prospect Classic League was the place you wanted to be, right? That was the best league in softball. And I looked at some of the names on there. Okay, Lettuce, they won the league. And the RZA Rockers, we took second. Okay, let me get my glasses here real quick.
I love it.
This is great.
So the other teams that were in the league were Red Dog took 3rd, Pugliese took 4th, 45s took 5th, Bats took 6th, Northsiders, Flash, Jinx, Molex, and Traffic. Now, if you look at those 12 teams, I can tell you right now, our top 12 teams are better than those top 12 teams.
Right.
I think, so
right.
What the decline in softball is in the city. A lot of city leagues aren't what they used to be. They used to have a lot of city tournaments. I mean, we played all over. We played Portage Park up on the north side, Country Club Hills out on the south side. I mean, you could play anywhere. I remember we went out to, with the RZA Rockers, we went out to play in Country Club Hills. In the first game, we were playing a bar team called Pete's Hideaway. And I'm like, oh, man, are we going to kill them? This is about 90, maybe 89. And we went out there and we had no clue who we were playing. And Zig got a hit. Berger hit a homer down the right field line. We were rolling. We got 2 runs in the first inning. They scored the next 23. They were the Pete Hideaway Whips.
The best team ever.
one of the greatest teams ever. Yeah. But they went under Pete's Hideaway, so I'm thinking, hey, we're playing a beer team, a bar team. We're going to kill them. So we did have them. They were nervous at 2-0.
I bet they were.
Yeah.
So we actually had, here's a good moment. Mr. Johnny Aki, he just wrote in the comments. He says, always great playing with Lane. I see him been thrown out of a few games. Just ask him about that. And he's a huge Cubs fan. So I guess perfect time to ask you, Lane. You've been thrown out of some games. So I guess tell us a little bit about that. Because, I also got thrown out in a couple games last year. And Donnie was thrown out this year. So
well, I haven't really got thrown out since I ran the RZA Rockers. I mean, it's very personal when you're running a team and you're young and you're trying to, and you, like I said, we're getting our heads beat in every weekend, and sometimes when you're not the top team, I'm not saying this happens all the time, but sometimes when you're not the top team, some of the calls might not go your way. Now, the umpires do a great job, believe me. I mean, you got your John Mitchells, your Joe Mazza. I mean, these guys, come on, first-class guys. So I used to get a little excited at times. I'm not going to lie. I have been thrown out of a few parks. And like it says, once I started coaching more, when I'm helping out with teams, when I helped out with Flash and coaching, and Donnie will tell you, I haven't been thrown out in years, but it's different when you're coaching and running a team.
The closest I've seen this year was actually when we played against Hex. And one of the individuals from Hex didn't really make a full swing at a ball. I think he tried to chop one down the third base line, maybe made a half swing. That was the most heated I've seen Coach Lane get all year last year. And it was fun to watch.
Green Sox?
I was talking about, I think so, yeah.
Mr. Brian Evans?
Well,
that's correct.
Like you said, if you have a veteran umpire that's seen the games and somebody does that, all you got to do is call it once. It'll never happen again.
That's
call
true.
It once. And this is not a bunting game. I don't care what anybody says. You got to hit the ball. You can cut the ball, Jimmy Moretti. You can cut the ball, no problem. You never hear a word out of me. But if you go up there and take a check swing and you're a lefty and you slap it 4 feet down the left field line, like he says, the umpire calls it once. And I told him, I says, you never see that at Forest Park, during the tournament and that type of stuff. So,
no,
it's just that it's one of those things that's been a long pet peeve of mine. And you've seen people do it. I have nothing against that kid. I don't know his name, but I know he's a nice player.
Brian Evans, yeah.
It was a fantastic moment because Lane is always pretty reserved and quiet. Until that moment right there, I saw fire. I saw fire. And it was great because it kind of hyped us up, to be honest. And Jimmy, I know you remember this. We ended up winning that game, and I think extra innings.
Yeah, we did. I remember exactly. You guys did hit the ball at the infield and beat us. Great. Lane, to get back to my question, I want to talk a little bit about that. You brought up those 12 teams from the 1998 league in Mount Prospect, which was the best league compared to now. You're saying the difference now is we're a little bit better. You think the 12 teams now are better than what they were then. I'm assuming you're talking about the black teams because the Young Guns and High Y have tremendously improved, right?
Yeah, BTA and High Y, yeah.
What did I say?
Young Guns.
Young
But
Guns.
Oh, Young Guns. I'm sorry. Yeah, BTA Highway. I apologize. And then I know we have 45s, Flash, obviously, are still pretty dominant. We have Hex, Moneyline, Signature are all pretty decent,
Circus.
right? And then we have Circus, who's obviously a top team. So I guess if you really look at it, and then now with the new Chucks, who knows what we're going to get out of Iowa this year? They could be definitely a top 10 team.
See, in the 90s, we didn't even worry about Iowa. Even at the Nationals, I mean, Carpet Country won that one year. But honestly, they weren't a factor. Now they are. They are a factor. That old timers can hit, Chucks can hit, and depending what I'll tell you what, we went to Vegas in October, and the team that Iowa brought out there in Vegas could win a major national easily. If those same guys come out and play all on one team, watch out.
Watch out. Well, old timers and Chucks combined this year. That's a done.
It's you're gonna, like you said, that's another team. So there's more athletes in the game today than there ever has been. The commitment level, guys, if you were on the team with Frankie Mastari or Jimmy Madlock and you didn't come to a game because you had a communion, you might as well just or Eggs. Could you imagine Eggs pitching and you didn't come because you're going to a birthday party? Just forget it. Just forget it. Don't ever show up again. Don't ever. They'll hate you forever. They'll never let it down. So.
You know, and unfortunately, that's the way the game is today. I mean, you have the guys when they show up are very talented, but when they don't show up, it actually affects the play of the game. So,
100%.
To your point, that's commitment is what we talk about a ton, and is definitely something that we're trying to improve by just doing many of things. You know, we talk about shortening tournaments, but what other ways do you think we can help with commitment? I mean, we talk about ending tournaments on Saturday, which would shorten days and stuff like that. But outside of that, what are some other things off the top of your head, Lane, that you may think would help commitment?
Well, the family atmosphere. You know, like it says, I remember when Frankie Mastari called me and says, Lane, I want to play with you guys. I want to play with the RZA Rockers. And I'm like, Frankie Mastari, he's a legend. He's just a legend. And I'm like, you want to play with the Rockers? I said, why do you want to come and play with the Rockers? I like the family atmosphere. And I'm like, come on, Frank, you want to come to my team and steal some of my players? And he's like, no, Lane, I promise. And he came out. He brought his sons out. He brought his wife out. They knew every game, every single game. And Donnie can attest to this. My wife's there
every time.
You know, she comes to the games.
Every game.
And she's done that where she used to drag my four daughters around to all the games. They had the shirts on every game. If it was cold, they had sweatshirts on. They had hats, rocker hats. If it was warm, they had tank tops. I think that the atmosphere, the family atmosphere helps. And another thing is, come on, you got Forest Park, an unbelievable league. You got Melrose Park's a great league. The only knock is that, I'd like to see some concessions there. The guys got to be able to get a Gatorade. They're coming from work. They're playing doubleheader sometimes, that type of stuff. It used to have the concession stand. I'd like to see that open again. I think with the park being there and stuff, I think more parents would bring their kids, and do that. They got the nice walking track there. My wife loves to walk in Melrose Park, and Forest Park obviously is set up real nice to attract families, places for them to sit, bleachers. Melrose Park has the same thing. So, those two things I think would definitely help. And like I said, making them part of the team, give them shirts, give them anything that can make them feel like the team. Let the kids shag balls in the outfield, like your little guys, let them run around and grab some balls and then give them a couple swings on the side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have them bring their little bat for their leagues and give them some swings. The more you can do with family, the better off you're going to be. And then you're going to not have wives maybe so upset by missing you so much. I mean, there's going to be a certain amount of that, but inclusion is very important in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, this world nowadays is so family oriented. With pretty much anything you do, it's changed a lot in the last 20 years around that. And I mean, just you've seen it with social media and people knowing, things they just didn't know 20 years ago. There's just a lot more going on that people are aware of. And, you know, to your point, Lane, back then it was like we go to the park, hang out as a family, you know, and nowadays I feel like, you know I bring out my wife and kids every now and then. It's tough, you know, it's tough to get them out on a Wednesday night to Forest Park at 9:30 at night. You know what
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No,
That's not going to
but
happen. But, you know, tournaments and different stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
if we did do those things on Saturdays and on Fridays and stuff like that, we can definitely make it happen where it's more of a family event. Absolutely. That's a great point. Donnie, over to you.
So I got a text message maybe 2-3 minutes ago from a good friend of yours, and he asked me to ask you about the USSSA Nationals in Maryville, Indiana. I'm sure you know who texted me at this tournament in Maryville, Indiana. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that event?
Well, it was a struggle to say the least. Now, remember, years ago, when you would go to Iowa, you go to Indiana, they would have all 12-inch umpires. So they let you throw the ball 4 feet high, as hard as you can. Tommy Balick was basically throwing the ball overhand. You know, Eki, he throw one 16 feet and then he throw one 3 feet. You know, I mean, just how it was. So that could be pretty frustrating. They had batters boxes, you know, so they're yelling at guys stepping out of the box, calling strikes. It was just not good. It wasn't good. Marshalltown caught on. They end up doing a great job, changing some umpires, giving them briefings beforehand. Cedar Rapids did a nice job, but for a while there, it was a problem. It made the Chicago teams not want to go there. There was a lot of complaints throughout the years, but like I said, they've improved in that a ton. I see regular umpires, they get the game. It's not totally different when you go there. You know, that day it was one of these umpires that are calling a 3-foot strike. And, you know, the guy's throwing a 90-mile-an-hour slider, getting our guys striking out something in the dirt. So maybe I was a little frustrated. We're getting beat by a team that we should have beat by 40. And I did get thrown out by a female umpire. And then she came over to the bench and then she threw me out of the park. I had to leave the park. So not one of my finest moments. I know my daughters were like, "Dad, why were you climbing the fence?" Well, when she threw me out, I climbed over the fence and out rather than just go through the dugout to make a scene. But not my finest moment.
Is there a video of that anywhere?
Yeah, I was going to say, we need this video.
You know what? Mr. Stout was constantly videotaping stuff, so you never know.
Well, we're going to have to get a hold of Mr. Stout on that one. That's for
Oh,
sure.
my God. That would be a believable video to see you trying to climb over the fence out of the building.
Oh, I climbed it.
That's unbelievable. I love it. I love it. You know who texted me that was Jeff Berger. And make sure you make
Of course.
story. Yeah. But we love to hear the stories like that, and kind of ties me into my next question, Lane. You know.
Oh, you know what? He was talking about that was the second part of the day. I didn't tell you about the first part of the day. So we're playing the USSSA, and we got an 8:00 in the morning game. So I know my guys are all young guys, right? So I get them a hotel the night before, and we're just right over the border. It's, 10 minutes over the border. But I know my guys, they're going to go out drinking. And on a Friday, we got an 8:00 game on a Saturday. So Les Duncan's there, and there's probably 100 teams in this tournament. Who knows? And my guys aren't there. Jeff Berger's not there. Jeff Tom's not there. Tommy Grove's not there. And we only had 12 guys. So I was missing 4 of them. We had 8. You gotta start with 9. So Les Duncan, nice guy, tell me, hey, I just talked to these guys, which was impossible at the time. There were no cell phones. They got a flat tire. They'll be here in 15 minutes. So he gave me a half hour, and he finally said, Lane, I got to forfeit the game. He was reluctant to do it, but I said, I understand. And then 2 minutes after that, here comes the car pulling up with Jeff Tom, Jeff Berger, Tommy Grove, and I got fire coming out of my eyes. And Jeff Tom's driving. He steps out of the car, and I see his hair's all wet. So I yell to him. I go, Jeff, you take 1 shower a month, and you pick today? So, Jeff's a great guy. It was just one of those things. It just came out, and it wasn't good. And then I find out that Jeff Berger's doing a dance at 3:30 in the morning. They're driving through White Castles in reverse. It's getting sliders at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we got an 8 o'clock game. So
Some things never change, huh?
How did that 8
exactly.
Did you guys end up playing, or did they make you forfeit?
Yeah, we played. We forfeited the first game. We ended up playing. We won like 3 or 4 games, and then we just enough. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Unbelievable story. That's great. It kind of ties me into the next question. You've coached a lot of unbelievable players and people, and I kind of want to hear, like, almost not your favorite, but the top 3 players that you think you've almost impacted the most, and people that you truly love, besides your son, of course, because that doesn't count. Is it possible to kind of give us a top 3 or?
Yeah, I think I got a top 3 for you.
Okay.
Obviously, number 1 is my guy, Jeff Berger.
Okay.
Absolutely crazy, great guy. Lives 2 doors away from me. I'm godfather to his daughter. One of my best friends in the whole world. He's the type of guy you call at 3 o'clock in the morning, you need something, he's there for me. And the same way. Next is Jimmy Jr. McCarthy, another guy, man, family man, just wow, just a great guy, great family. Like it says, my daughters babysit for his kids when they were little. Little JJ was a terror, would run around and not want to get his diaper changed. My daughters are chasing him, and now his daughters had babysit for my granddaughter. So there's another family. They don't get any better than the McCarthys, I'm telling you right now. And then finally, one of my best friends in the world, obviously, these are 3 of my best friends, is Zig. Like it says, he's a great guy, always with him. We went to Vegas last year together. His son's the starting center fielder in Michigan State right now. Future Iron guy, I'm sure. He's a senior this year. Yep. Actually, I found out that he broke a bone in his hand, so he's going to be out 3 weeks. But great kid, and those are my guys for sure. And you could throw Marty Dozen in there too. Those are my 4. So
nice. You mentioned McCarthy and Berger. Obviously, we've had on the show last week. We were talking about, you mentioned JJ as a little kid. We were talking about where JJ is going to get drafted in the NFL, and we were talking about running a pool for that. 32 teams. What's your call on that? Since you're so close to the family, where do you think he's going to land?
I don't have any insight from the family. Let's be clear on that.
We know that.
They haven't told me.
How would they know? It's the NFL draft.
Junior wouldn't tell me. Oh, just because I got agents and everything. But it wouldn't shock me if he was a Denver Bronco.
That's what Jimmy said.
It wouldn't shock me.
Huh.
That would be the best.
I know Sean Payton's got a lot of respect for a guy like JJ. I mean, how do you not love the kid? I mean, come on.
It's a perfect
and you know what? His daughters, he's got 2 daughters, are just as good. So
it's a
great kid.
It's a perfect land, man. If he gets there, he'll be praying to God he gets there. Just pray to God the Bears don't take him.
No, I don't think the Bears going to take him.
No.
Number 2 would be Atlanta. I know the Falcons. They're looking at Fields. I don't think the Bears are going to trade Fields personally. I don't think they're going to get enough for him.
Right.
I think the Bears will take Caleb Williams, and I think JJ will be the 4th quarterback taken, and I think he'll be in a top 10. So
yeah. Well,
good insight. Jimmy said the same thing last week about the Denver Broncos. So if it happens, we're going to look like geniuses on the show without any insight, of course.
I think we could bet that somewhere.
You probably could.
I'm sure we can look it up. So we actually had some comments. Your brother said that your wife is an absolute saint. We all agree to that. Not only a saint for coming to softball, but putting up with your ass for 40 years. I don't definitely don't believe
it. In about 3 weeks is going to be my 42nd wedding anniversary, and like it says, I don't know how she does it. Honestly, I don't. I don't know. Well, it's the yin and yang. She's a smart one. I'm not too sharp. She's pretty.
Yeah.
I can hunt a house, that type of stuff.
They always say that, behind every strong man, there's a smart woman, right? So.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate, honestly, believe me.
Richie Battistoni, welcome to the show. He also says incredible things about you. Great dude, Lane. Steve Majerus says incredible interview so far, Lane. Nice. Great dude. Mahoney says great guy always. So a lot of awesome comments coming in from a lot of.
Well, you just mentioned 3 great people there. I think Spencer's one of the best young players in the game.
Yep.
You got Richie. I love the way he approaches things and goes after things, and he's unapologetic. Love it.
Yeah.
He reminds me of myself a little bit from the 90s. I love it.
Yeah.
And Steve's a good guy. Steve and I went to a Michigan game this year. 110,000 people in there. Absolutely nuts. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
No, you mentioned Richie Battistoni, and I've said this on previous shows. You know, he's somebody that people don't understand when you play for him because it's a different vibe. It's, you know, he sits himself. I mean, there's not many players of his stature that I would say would take a back seat for somebody to play in a Forest Park when he's tremendously improved as a hitter in the last 5 to 6 years.
You don't got to tell me he crushes us.
He's a very tough out. So,
yeah, he's just a great guy. And like I says, I love that he does what's best for his team first.
Yep.
Because it's about team first, even if he has to sit himself for a lesser player because it's better for the team at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what coaches have to make that sacrifice, and he does.
Yep.
So
no,
my hat's off to Richie. I love, like it says, I just love the way he approaches things, and I love that he's unapologetic.
Yeah, and he plays on that team Hex. You know, he runs that team Hex.
Hex.
I should say.
Hex boys. Look how many teams have improved this year. Circus has improved. Moneyline's greatly improved. Hex got improvement. Signature. Well, they got Donnie, but they have improved.
I knew that was coming. That was a given right there.
I mean, Flash is improved. I mean, it's going to be a crazy year. I hear BTA and Highway got a couple surprises in the line. So it's going to be a crazy year. It's going to be super competitive. I think Forest Park's a great league. I think Forest Park's got a waiting list. Melrose Park's got a waiting list. So I don't see the game dying. I think what you guys are doing are helping the game tremendously. I love what Adam does at Forest Park. I think that's helped the game immensely. I love what Gio does with his live streaming. I liked it when Donnie did the live streaming with him. You know, I missed that. I do miss that. I thought it was fantastic. So hopefully we can all be big boys here and come together because we have to do what's best for the game.
Hey,
Bingo.
We have no problems.
I agree.
You know.
I agree.
Yeah, I know. Hey, don't tell me Gio is not stubborn. I coach with him, so I get it.
Yeah.
But you know, like it says, a higher calling here and what's best for the game is real important.
Just really quick before we get to our next question, Lane, I just want to say hi to Gabriel Vega, a gentleman from Arizona, from the Psychopaths. We always see him in Yuma every year, so welcome to the show. Steve Burke, welcome to the show. Mr. Paul Rowan, the president of the Hall of Fame, welcome. Paul Rowan makes a comment. Lane says you're by far you're the best, my friend. So he appreciates you. Mr. Robbie Garzano, who is also a Hex member this year. He says, my first ever experience was the Nationals when I was a pinch runner for Lane and the Rizza Kids when I was 17 years old. So Mr. Dave Padilla also joined the show. Welcome. He says great stuff. So a lot of fans out there, Lane. Maybe we should start selling tickets. What do you think?
Yeah, well, a lot of good guys, a lot of kind guys. And like it says, Paul Rowan, he might not remember it, but I remember his Ringers team back in the late 80s. And they would play out south, Blue Island, and those type of things. And when you went to them, they had a few ringers on that team, and they were tough, hard-nosed players. And you came to the south side, you knew you were there, and they could beat you by 20 if they had a good day. So, and Paul's an outstanding man. Did the Hall of Fame golf outing 2 years ago. Got to meet him, talk with him a lot more. Talk with his wife. I don't know how she puts up with him, but God bless. But you know, another guy that's helping the game, improving the game, and that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, no, I think it's that's why Donnie and I kind of went to this platform to really, you know, I've been a part of softball for 20 years. You know, Donnie is going to be a part of softball for 20 years. You could just see the fire inside of him to play the game and continue to get better. So I'm actually excited for Donnie this year. I know we throw some shots at him for not being very good. But, you know, I'll tell you one thing. I think he's going to learn to continue to improve. I think he has opportunity to be to be a better, continue to improve on a major team, play around better players. You learn a lot more. Things just, I think, all over is showing a tremendous upside for him over the next 5 years. And if he falls flat on his face, well, he'll be back playing.
Well, we tried.
Well, from when I saw him on March till last year, I think Donnie's greatly improved. I think his confidence is getting there. I think that's the only thing that really was holding him back.
Right.
He had I mean, he's a lefty batter. He doesn't walk people.
Right.
He knows every hitter. I mean, that's 80% of the game.
Yeah. That's half the battle.
And like I said, I forgot to mention Meatball City. I love those young guys. I love Joel, what he's doing. And somebody said Pops was on the stream. Come on, finer guys you're never going to see. And Joel's able to make my son look good. He's a magician at the barber chair, I'll tell you.
He does. He cuts them up real nice. Joel does a nice job over there. He can make anybody.
Wow.
Over there. Yeah.
I told him, I said, what could you do with this? He said, go to Great Clips.
I appreciate the kind words, gentlemen, as always. I had a question about Lane Jr. and one of my closest friends. I'll be at his wedding. I want to know, you've coached a lot of human beings, and now being able to kind of coach and hang out with your son a lot. What does that mean for you as both an individual who loves seeing that Lane loves softball? What does it mean to be out there with your son all the time?
Hey, it means everything. I know that there's probably times he's like, I wish you'd stay home, because all dads are the hardest on their own sons. Believe me. All,
Yep.
Like I got to bite my lips sometimes, and he's like, Dad, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. But you've seen it, Donnie. Yeah. I'm tough on him, but when I see potential, I like that potential to grow. And like yourself and Lane and these young guys on iron, come on, just it's gonna happen. And like you said, hey, look at Drew and Marty Dozen and some young players out there, just incredible. Anthony Sanchez, come on, I mean,
yeah,
just tremendous.
So
Ryan Russ,
So we're talking about incredible young players, and it kind of just thought, you know what? I think it's the perfect time to ask this question. If you were starting a team today, minus your son and Donnie and I, who would be the first person you pick to be on your team? Obviously, for something that you're looking to build 5 to 10 years out.
I think Nate Mercado is obviously 1 or 2 player. Ooh. But if I was starting a team today, I would take Spencer Mahoney. I just think this guy is just. Wow.
Yep.
He just reminds me of a young Jeff Berger. He gets after it. He's quiet, but you can see that he's determined. And when guys aren't doing the right things, you can just look at somebody and know.
Right.
And he would be my first pick.
I think a lot of people would agree with that too, Lane. I mean, that guy is a special human being. He's got all the tools to be a successful softball player, but is a better human being than a softball player. I mean, he's super quiet, like you said. He's the nicest dude in the world. I mean, he's a very good teammate when you are struggling as well, because he holds himself to a really high standard. Spencer does, and when you're not performing, he'll get you there. He's awesome.
Well, up until last year, I never met Spencer, and I met him at the Dana Strong tournament. And this is when I knew he was a good person. We have that tournament every year, and every year I got to clean the park up before we leave. Well, you could imagine being on the south side, the amount of beer cans and garbage and food and you name it, it's thrown all over the place. I don't care how many garbage cans I put out, that still manages to be on the field, right? So he saw me cleaning up, and he literally came up to me and said, "Hey, Jim, do you need help?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, I'm not going to say no, and he literally stayed for 15 to 20 minutes afterwards, and pretty much everyone was gone. And he literally stayed with me and cleaned up the whole park. And at that moment, I mean, not that, he's a great person because he helped me, but you could just tell, like, the individual person that he is. And that's the moment.
Yeah, his character showed through.
Correct.
Absolutely.
His character was like, wow, like, because not one person even offered, and he actually came up to me and stayed with me, and then we went to the bar together. So it was we really bonded. So it was good.
And that was all. It was. He's like, hey, you want to play with Hex next year? That was all part of the plan, right, Jim?
Well, 100%. Well, he actually just asked me to go play with Signature. So,
Yeah.
but either way, it was a great day, and then Scar met us out, and we had a fun night, and so. But yeah, I mean, speaking to Spencer, that's a great first pick, and I couldn't, I couldn't disagree with you. I mean, that's probably where I would go. He's got tremendous upside, and I think he's still learning the game. So,
I played with several Hall of Famers, and he's a future Hall of Famer for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, he keeps going on the road he's going. He's going to be right there. So there's no doubt.
If you want me to name a few of the Hall of Famers I played with real quick.
Yeah.
Of course. I left off one name too that I'm blanking on. I talk to him 2 or 3 times a week, is my buddy Patty Caputo. We've done so many things together. We won Forest Park together. We played together. I helped him start ice the first year. I actually was on ice with him.
Right.
Sat down in the meeting. Yeah. I had the Rockers at the time, and then we went to ice. And then by the end of the year, it got too much. But yeah, I helped him in ice. And Patty's going through some tough times right now. He's a tough son of a gun. When he was pitching for the Rockers, we were playing Lettuce in the semifinals in 1998 at the No Glove Nationals in Forest Park. And the backup pitcher wasn't too good. That was me or somebody else. And I think it was Bobby Lopez. Don't hold it to me. Hits a line shot back up the middle. And anybody know Patty, nothing got through to him. He was the batterman of softball. Nothing got through. I know he's low to the ground, but just nothing got through, and he caught every line shot. So he says, come on out here. He's waving to me, and I'm like, uh-oh. I come out there, and his baby finger, the top bone went over the other bone. So the edge bone was over the other one. So he says, pull it out. I said, okay. I pulled out many fingers in my time. Dislocated finger, pull it out. So I said, on 3, on 2, I pull it. Doesn't move. He screamed. He goes, Lane. I go, okay, let me pull it harder, right? So I grab his wrist. I'm not a little guy. I pull this thing, almost pull him over. It doesn't move. He looks at me and he goes, get a piece of tape. That's enough. Finished the game. And then obviously we went on to play Pugliese in the finals and won. But that's the type of guy Pat Caputo is. And like it says, he's going through some personal health stuff right now. He's great for the game. He loves the game. He talks about the game. He watches old games. He's absolutely. He's turned that Melrose Park into, like it says, behind Forest Park, Melrose Park. Those got to be the 2 top leagues in softball. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. And like I said, he's one of my best friends in the whole world. I love the guy. So
usually every Wednesday I call him and I check in with him.
That's nice.
And it's funny because I know that he does his checkups Monday and he usually takes a day to recover. So by Wednesday, he usually could talk shit to me by Wednesday. So that's
he's
why
pretty good at that.
I usually wait till Wednesday or Thursday, and then I call him, and I know he's fueled up because at that point, his old ass has actually watched the show, or he saw something that he wants to bust my balls about. So, but I look forward to it. I shoot him a call every week, and if I miss him in a week or here or there, he knows I'm busy. But either way, I do make time out of my day to reach out to him because he is an old fuck, but I like that old fuck. So
that was one of the best defensive pitchers you'll ever see.
Yep.
Right there. Like I says, he was one of the Hall of Famers. Jeff Berger, Greg Ziegler, hopefully Jr., Marty Dozum, Frankie Mastari, Dennis Gardner. Wow, what a tough, hard-nosed player he was. Tony Paczynski, Danny Jelowick. I got to put my glasses on here. I can't read my own writing. And like I says, hopefully Jimmy Jr. McCarthy. I appreciate everybody who's voted for him if they could take time. Junior wasn't the type of guy to go around brag about himself, but he led off for some of the best teams in softball for about 8 or 9 years there in a row. And then he even came out when I went to Flash in 2011, 12, and 13. Junior was right there. contributing, backup pitcher and still get his hits. He was a dominant leadoff hitter for his era. Him, Randy Russ. I mean, there were a few good ones. Don't get me wrong, but Ricky Gankaris, but he was right there.
Yeah, no, I've actually got to not play with him, but kind of play against him when I first started, and he was on his way out. So up until last week was kind of really the first time that I actually, had full conversations with him. I don't, if I saw him, I'd be like, hey, what's going on? But he seems to be a very intense and incredible guy. And when he was saying how he leads off for some of those top teams, it's like, you look at Murderers Row and some of those lineups, it's like, oh, how does this guy not get in the Hall of Fame, right? So there's a reason why.
Yeah, well, like I said, when Berger called me and Junior called me and Marty and Junior led off for his team for the next 5 or 6 years, and Marty Doza went over there to them. I mean, you just don't see that.
Right.
You don't go to a very top team and you're the leadoff hitter. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And he was.
Right.
Right.
So Jerry Lafrano, well, he's, I believe, on the Hall of Fame board. He says Junior should be in the Hall, 100%. So
I agree. And Jeremy's a great guy too. Let's not leave him out.
Well, Lafrano was actually one of our ideas with the Hall of Fame wrapping up. We were hoping to get him on a show probably next week. We know next week also, really quick, why it's in my mind before I forget, Al Maggs has his tournament next week in Arizona, so I want to make sure we get that out there. We're going to try something new that we've never done before, Donnie and I, next week for that tournament. So there's about 14 teams out in Tempe, Arizona, that he runs. He's got pool play and then a single elimination, I believe, tournament is how he's running it this year. If I'm wrong, he does switch the tournament every year. He's run it double elimination. He's run it where 3-game minimums. So I believe this year he's going to play a couple games and then you play a single elimination tournament. So everyone's guaranteed 3 games. And then you're seeded based off your pool play. So if he's doing it that way, I believe that's how he's doing it. It should be a fun day. Those complexes out there are beautiful, right next to the Arizona Cardinals, training facility, which is awesome. So, just wanted to throw a shout out to Al because I know Al does a lot as well for the Hall of Fame. And he wants us to give his book, to every guest that we have.
Excellent book.
So, Lane, you have a book coming to you.
Well, I already have the book.
Oh.
I bought one of the first one. I played against Al when he had the Molex teams for many years. Great guy. And like he says, you could donate my book to whoever needs it because I think I got 2 or 3 copies, honestly.
Okay.
Here.
We'll give it to Donnie then.
Donnie, read it. You read it. Al's a great guy and does a lot for the game. Was obviously one of the founders of the Hall of Fame. So, great guy.
Awesome. So why don't we get into our next question? And this is where we usually do, Lane, was what we call our rapid fire.
Yep.
I know you've talked. It might not be as intense because you've brought up some of these guys already tonight or in our interview. But we're going to give you 10 names. You tell us good, bad, or indifferent about those 10 names. Keep it couple sentences. You don't got to get crazy, but if you do have a great story, please share. Okay. So number 10, Rich Melman.
Absolutely phenomenal guy. What he did for softball, putting us on TV. Teams didn't have sponsors. He sponsored them, make sure everybody had uniforms, same shirts. The guy never asked for anything. The one story I can tell you was we were playing lettuce one time in Forest Park and just a regular league game. It might have been a TV game. And I know that day he had sold like a certain percentage of all the Maggiano's restaurants. It was like, I was reading in the Wall Street Journal, it was like $300 million. So he came out with Joel Zimmeroff to take the coin toss with myself. And I didn't really need a coin toss. I always took the ends. I wanted to hit first. I don't care what anybody says. I can count on my hand how many times in the 7th inning a team came back and beat me. I want to get up, and especially if we're playing a better team, I want to get up and I want to have the lead and come and chase me. But anyhow, I asked him if he needed a loan, and he got a kick out of that because I heard that he only got. I said, I heard you only got $300 million for the Marcianos. So, and he only sold part of it. He didn't even sell all of it. I said, Rich, you need a loan. He just smiled. That's the type of guy he was, and I know he's helped out. He's not one of these braggish guys. He's not going to say nothing. I know he still loves the game, and he's still involved behind the scenes doing good things for our sport. So. Anybody you don't like, Rich, I wanted to beat Lettuce more than anybody when we came between the lines.
Right.
But after the game and before the game, he's the man.
To your point, we actually tried to get Rich Melman on the phone. I had a conversation with him a couple months ago, and he wanted to come on with a counterpart. So hopefully we can make that happen, hopefully over the next couple months, because I would love to hear – to your point, how not only how he promoted the game, right, because that's what we're all about, but also how he got the TV league started and some other things. Because to your point, I mean, I watch wiffle ball. There's bags. I mean, there's no reason why we can't somehow maneuver to get 16 in softball back, right? So, good point. I'm gonna go to number 9, Dennis Gardner.
Like he says, Dennis, the type of guy he is. We had the Rockers team. Frankie Mastari called me, said he'd like to come over. He said he'd play third base. I told Dennis Gardner, I said, hey, we're picking up Frankie Mastari. He's going to play third base. Dennis goes, oh, no, he's going to play shortstop. And Dennis went to third. And Dennis was probably the second or third best shortstop in the game at the time. I mean, and underrated. But that's the type of guy he was. He thought he knew Frankie Mastari and his leadership. And that's what we needed, and it obviously took us to the promised land, winning the Forest Park No Gloves in '98. So that's the type of guy Dennis is.
Beautiful. Number 8, Mr. Tom O'Neill.
I love Tom O'Neill. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that actually knows him and talk to him, if you don't like this guy, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know, he ran tournaments. He would be available. This guy would pick up the phone. I mean, he's coaching the Final Four of the NCAAs every year. You picked up the phone, you called him. He called you back. He called me back from the hotel one time when they were, I don't know, in the Final Four somewhere. That's the type of guy he was. He was always responsive. He always liked the Rockers, the RZA Rockers, because we were a young team, and I didn't care where we played. I didn't care what the draw was. Just tell me the time, and we'll be there. And Tom O'Neill's a great guy. I saw him at the Hall of Fame, not this year. I didn't go the year before, and got to talk to him a little bit. And he said he was done doing the Final Four. And I said I can finally bet on him. But that's the type of guy Tommy is.
Awesome. Number 7, Mr. Danny Atkins.
Danny's true gentleman of the game. I don't know anything he wouldn't do for anybody. If you ask them, honestly, he cares. Obviously he runs the North-South tournament every year. It's not easy, as you guys know. You guys got to call a day ahead of time, prep your interviewers, make sure they're there, make sure they can sign on, all these different things. Danny does the same thing. When it came to the team, I asked him, we started playing in the Dome, if I could coach a base if he needed it. And he goes, I don't know, Lane, because I got a couple guys that do it.
Right.
And I said, okay. And then after a few things, he says, yeah, just go coach third, because he didn't want to coach third and do the book and all that stuff. But hooks me up with full uniforms, treats me like one of the guys, and just gentleman of the game. Outstanding.
I love Danny Atkins. He's the best.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Number 6, Little Mickey Balestri. Now,
Little Mick.
He is on Team Jagoff.
Yeah, he should be. No, Mickey is, I knew him when he was a kid. His father, I played with his father. A couple of years ago, we won the over 50 nationals with his father, Crush. But Mick Sr. can talk for a long time, but Mick Jr. never stops. And he starts and he never stops. You know he's in the building from the second he walks through the doors. It's like a whirlwind. And he talks on the mound, and he talks at first base, and he talks in the dugout. He talks after the game. He talks before the game. But yeah, he cares. He loves the game. He's played at a high level. He knows what it takes to win. So I love little Mick.
So really quick, before we get to number 5, our top 5, I just want to say hi to some people in the chat. Mr. Max, old Flash player. I got to play with him. I'm back on the day in Flash and Maxim, so welcome. Michelle Sutton, welcome. Our nephew Pete, welcome to the show. Jerry Brown, Jeff Fernandez from Flash, welcome. Kill Lee, welcome. Joe Paduto, welcome. Mr. Paul Rowan, who actually is number 5 on the list. Paul Rowan.
Yeah, well, I touched on Paul. I think he's doing a great job with the hall. I appreciate everything he does. People don't understand the time and effort you got to do. I mean, they open the hall on Saturday, so you can bring your family in there from noon to 4. They have a ton of tapes back there you can go through if you want them. And I guess now Mickey went there a couple times, categorized them, and now he's got somebody turning them to CDs. You want something at the hall, you got a suggestion, he's all ears. He wants to see more people involved. He doesn't want to keep it just a ASA, SSA thing. He wants to keep it a softball thing, and that's what I appreciate about
it. Donnie and I are going to be heading out there soon. They've asked Donnie and I to go out there and do an interview with John. So I know they've been doing I believe it's the YouTube, kind of channel. Mickey, bless you, and Little Mick was just on recently. They had a good interview on there. So I know John has asked us to come out there. I don't know. They haven't given us a date or anything yet, but I know that's on the Arsenal. So we get to get out there and we'll be able to see. I was just out there a couple weeks ago, but to your point, I'd like to get Donnie involved over there. Donnie would love to see a lot of stuff that's going on out there for sure.
Yeah, I've walked there. I've walked through there plenty of times, and now after we've talked to these people, it means a whole lot more. The names up in the Hall of Fame is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, look for my picture. I had hair back then.
That
must have been a long time ago.
Yeah. It was a long time ago, yeah.
Probably won't recognize you with hair, Lane. So number 4 is a gentleman we golf with today, Matty Dozen.
Matty's great. Matty played for me. His father played for me. His dad was the type of guy who would come out, pitch batting practice in his 60s. He didn't care. If I was a shorter player, he would play. Matty does a lot for the game right now. My son played a year with him on Moneyline. He gave him the opportunity, and I really appreciate that. Matty does a lot for the game. And like it says, I like what I hear about Moneyline and their pickups. His son, Marty, works with my son. They get along great. Great family man. Like it says, just a great overall guy. Ask him for something. I mean, he does your mortgage. He's done mine. I got 2.5%, by the way, before all this stuff happened. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. And I know that my son Lane just bought his first house, and Matty took care of him again. So if you need a mortgage, he's the guy to see. It's hassle-free. You do everything from your computer.
Yep.
He couldn't make things easier. It's awesome.
And he's no longer in Downers. He's out of Naperville now, so very centrally located. If anyone needs a mortgage out there or looking, I don't think you'd be looking to refi with these rates, but if you are, to maybe do some home improvements or whatever it may be, reach out to Matty. So even though, we give a lot of shit to Matty, he's a great guy. I can't agree with you more. So that leads me to the top 3. Lane, take a guess who number 3 is.
It's probably one of my boys.
I would beg to differ.
Oh no, okay. I know who 3 is. Okay, yeah. It's your standing running joke every week that I've listened to for 30 weeks. We're gonna talk about my guy Gio.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you this.
Gio is number 3.
Gio's number 3.
Let me tell you why Gio's number 3. Because we want to hear what you have to say about Mr. Gio.
Okay. Well, Gio ran Flash for 3 years. I think we won 2 major nationals, and we won 2 Forest Parks in those 3 years.
Yep.
We won the league. We won everything we could. If you want an organizer, you want somebody to let you know when there's time and place, yes. Is Gio stubborn? 100%. He's stubborn, okay? But I think that's the attorney in him. You know, he is
We
an
just like
attorney. He's a
busting his
high-ranking
balls.
guy for Cook County in the law offices. I mean, he's a very intelligent young man. He cares, and that's why it kind of a lot of people in softball are kind of, you know, about this whole thing going on. It's kind of sad to see. You know, who's going to put the time in that Gio does? I know Gio and Patty Caputo, and maybe Mikey Marola does a lot of stuff too. But their time that they put in is incredible.
Yeah,
so.
we got to take back the seriousness a little bit. You know, take it down a level. Not everyone's out to get them, but at the same time, let's all work together. To your point, and he does some great
big boys here.
He does some great things.
Big boys.
He just, you know, and we'll move forward. So you mentioned Mikey Marola. Mikey Marola just joined the feed, so welcome. Mr. Chris Downs just joined the feed. Welcome.
Another great kids.
Two very great individuals.
Absolutely.
Number two, we've talked about these guys so much, it kind of ruins my number two and number one. But either way, it's Junior McCarthy. So I know he's on the Hall of Fame ballot this year. You've already said some incredible things, but maybe think of something that's either a goofy or funny story that you could share.
Oh yeah, I got a funny story. To this day, Junior, I nicknamed him Junior when he came out because I think he started playing me. He was still in high school. Don't tell nobody. You got to be 18. But he started playing with me. And he was there. He wrote me a letter to try out for the Rockers. He says he was dreaming about the pinstripes that we used to wear, and he wanted to be on a team. That's the type of kid he was, and that was awesome. And I'm thinking, this kid, he's in. So I tell him, come on out. Well, he's there early, staying late, taking batting practice, learning to cut, taking all the wisdom in from everybody around him, veteran players like Zig and Mastari and Berger and all that stuff. Then I'm at Mount Prospect one time, and all the years that Junior was on my team, he never brought a girl to the game. He met a lot of girls after the game. All of a sudden, he comes pulling up in his Jeep, got country music blaring, and he's got this little girl named Megan with him. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it was over. I go, uh-oh. So from that day on, I called him Stiff because he had a lot of excuses because him and that little girl, he was chasing that little girl around a lot. So softball wasn't the main priority for a couple of years. So when we text back and forth, I always start with Stiff.
Oh, that's fun. That's hysterical. That's awesome. So that's incredible. Next time I see him, I'm going to have to call him Stiff.
Call him Stiff.
So number one, we brought his name up a ton already tonight. We've said some funny stories about him. We know an incredible player he is. Mr. Jeff Berger.
Yeah, like it says, just clutch. I watched every game of his through his entire playing career. I didn't miss one Nationals. You know, usually, you know, if we weren't in it, I stuck around, whether we're in Marshalltown, Cedar Rapids, wherever we were. I watched and stayed there and watched my guy play to the very end. Sometimes it was a Sunday night, 11 o'clock. We're finishing up in Marshalltown. Yep. You know, it's a 4.5-hour ride. I stuck around to watch him because I was just amazed at the way his talent level, the way he became a leader, the way people looked up to him. Right. I was just proud to be my guy.
Right.
Jimmy,
Donnie,
just sent me a photo.
Donnie, what are you doing over there, buddy?
He's
Donnie, what are you doing?
Something. Jeff Berger just texted me a photo. I'm trying to see if I can add it into here. Do you know how to add pictures in here, Jim?
You do, but it's going to boot us off.
Okay, never mind. Then I'll send it to you.
We probably don't need it.
No, it's not going to boot us off. You just got to click on the thing. What's the picture he sent,
it's
though?
Fine. Berger sent a picture of four strapping young men, all in fancy clothes. So I'll send it afterwards, and you
hold
can
your phone up to the camera.
I don't want to. He sent me a text message. How would I do that?
It could have been it could have been for us. It could have been Zig, Junior, Jeff at one of my daughter's weddings.
We'll post it. We'll post it in the comments after the show.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'll do that.
So
yeah.
So Lane, you know, we went through the top 10. I know Donnie, I believe you got another question, and I got one
I
more
got-
question for you. I
Yep.
want to kind of hand it over to the audience in the meantime. If there's any questions out and the viewers, please put it in the chat now. We'll be able to go ahead and do that. But go ahead, Donnie, ask your question.
The last thing I always, all right, we kind of prepped you for it yesterday. Favorite jersey that you own, or from a team that you played on, or a team that you were a part of? I know you got a lot of jerseys in that basement. Lane, what's your favorite jersey or piece of memorabilia?
By far, my favorite is right here. Can you see that?
It says the Rockers, right?
Is that like a jacket?
Yeah, Rockers. That's by far my favorite.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I got different jackets we had. We got jackets every year. We got pullovers, we got sweatshirts. We got four or five different jerseys.
Take the camera off your mug. Put it back on the jersey. Let's see it.
Okay.
Jimmy.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
You see it?
Yeah.
That's Flash. That's the 16-inch Hall of Fame.
Nice.
That's the Rockers.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
That's Mudville.
Mudville.
Yeah, you were on Mudville.
Yes, I was.
Good for you.
More of a coach.
More of a coach
at that time.
So those are the jackets you're talking about. Those like Letterman jackets, that rock that you wear?
Jacket.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think at the time when I ordered them, because I ordered them for the wives and stuff like that, I think I ordered 75 of them at $175 a piece.
That's not a cheap endeavor. That's not a cheap endeavor for you.
After that one, Mr. Rizzo told me he had to put a line item in his budget for the Rockers.
That's awesome. Good for you. So Lane, before we hand it over to you for questions with us, and obviously the individuals that are watching out there, if you guys have any questions, please put it in the chat. I know there's some questions starting to come in now, but let me get to my last question really quick, and that's the question I ask every guest on the show. I just think it's kind of our staple now. What would you do to change softball right now to improve the game moving forward?
Like it says, any ideas that guys can come up with to, like it says, make it more enjoyable, make it more family friendly. At one time, Tim Maher ran a handicap tournament, and it was beautiful too, because Bobby Rasha and the 45s won 2 games and lost and were out of the tournament because they didn't cover the spread.
Oh,
and I heard him scream about that for 6 months, and it was beautiful. But yeah, you could do things like that. You're gonna get some A teams. Like you got a lot of nice A teams coming up. At Goodwood, they impressed me. I watched some of them in the Dome. You got the Demons. You got Fat Kids. There's a lot of good teams out there. And if they were getting 3.5 against a team like Hex, could be interesting.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That would be a lot of fun. I think that would be an incredible way to end the year, maybe in September.
Yeah, like it says, I would be for that 100%. You got guys that know the teams, know the players. You got yourself, Matty Dozen, Richie. Come on, you guys aren't shy. You could do that in about 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Cool.
That would be an incredible way to end the year. I think having a line tournament and would be awesome to put that together. That's a great way to end the year. And then the other thing with it would be, Mickey, myself, and Donnie, we want to throw together the Park League World Series. Oh. So we could do that on the same day, and I think that would be pretty cool to have maybe a 12-12 or a 16-16 if we get enough interest on the major side. So that would
years ago they used to have a tournament called the Life Tournament, and what they did was they took all the park districts in the western suburbs. Berwyn, Cicero, North Riverside, LaGrange, Western Springs, Hotchkins, and every park district put their top 2 teams in from their league.
Yep.
And then they would have a tournament. And the last year of the tournament, actually, they got a big silver cup, and they put your name on there the year you won. Well, the last year of the tournament, the Rizzo Rockers won. So I actually donated that silver cup, had it polished, and donated it to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Because that was a lot of fun. Teams look forward to that.
Yep, absolutely. That would be great. That would be an incredible.
Broadview, Stooges, I mean, the Blues. It was great.
So Lane, before we hand it over to you for some questions, we had some questions from the audience. It says from Tim Dalton. He says, who was one of the favorite opposing coaches to coach against, and who was the coach you wanted to actually beat the most, rising to the occasion?
Well, it was always fun to play. The coach I wanted to beat the most was probably Bobby Rasha, because it was always beautiful to watch him walk away and not shake your hand sometimes.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Hey, I give him a lot of credit. He was there, and he thought his team was better than your team. I remember one time at Mount Prospect, we were talking about the money at the end of the year. The league was real expensive, and he looked at me and he goes, "What do you care? You ain't gonna win any." He says that to me at the meeting. So I mean, hey, good for him.
Yeah.
So he's a little cocky, but yeah, I always like to beat Bobby Rasha in his 45s. And one of the guys that I really enjoyed and always look forward to was Bobby Russ Sr. Him and I got along great. I loved his fire. I loved his enthusiasm. He had as much as this guy, Ron Michi. I don't know if you guys remember him, but you couldn't get down when he was around. He got everybody up and going all the time.
Yeah.
It was 100%. It was go, go, go. And that was Bobby Russ Sr. and Ronnie Michi. So.
Yeah, Bobby Russ, he's one of the funniest guys that I know, like, around softball. And when you play against him, he's a motherfucker. And that's fine, because he knows that I'm a motherfucker right back to him. But at the same time, he's one of those guys that I think is just special in a lot of ways. He's been on our show, and he's talked a lot about just softball as a whole. So we definitely appreciate him and his family. So Mr. Dave Padilla says, Lane, who was your favorite player from the 70s or 80s playing the game?
Johnny Kelleher.
Okay.
He was just a magician. I mean, I just couldn't get enough. I could watch him play, and at the time my teams weren't playing in the same stuff he was, and he was in every team he played on. He'd just come out and get 3 hits, and you just prayed that you choked him, because then he'd hit the ball in the gap or over your head.
Right.
So everybody I used to know used to just give him his 3 or 4 hits a game, just give him the single and be done with it, because he's going to get you 3 or 4 times every game, not some games.
Well, the next
crazy.
question comes from Mr. Eki. He says, you probably just want to keep this to one story, but he says, Lane, you should tell them some stories about the old radio days with Timmy. There was a lot of good ones.
Oh, yeah. Like it says, we did a radio show. Tim Maher started it with, it was 95.9 out of Aurora. He started it with Mike Tallow, and then Bobby Glossa from the Jinx did it. Then myself did it, and we'd have crazy callers call in like Eddie Chibi and Johnny Eki, and they might have had a few pops in them, and it was hilarious.
Right.
The hardest thing was keeping them from swearing back then, because we'd get in trouble. But yeah, the big guy ran the radio show, and I don't care who you were, you listened to it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then it kind of died out when the TV league came on, which was fine, but that's where it was. And it was some great things. And, like I said, you'd have Barzowski call in from the highlights. You'd have Aces call in. I mean, you just had all these different teams call in all the time, talking about their tournaments, what they did that day. And you got instant updates. So it was great. And that's what you guys will be able to do too.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I know it's winter time and there's not much softball going on, but you'll be able to talk about current events, which that's what people really want to know.
Absolutely.
Yep. True. There's a great question from Marty Dozen Jr. Question for Lane. Who was your favorite person standing up in your son's wedding?
Who's my favorite person? Well, I don't know if he wants me to say. Are you standing up, Donnie?
No, I'm not. That's a great.
Oh, you're not? Okay. Maybe it's his son.
Yeah.
It's got to be his nephew, Marty, then.
Yep,
I would think it's Marty Stan.
Perfect. Yeah, Marty.
I think
Marty's actually the one who asked the question. Marty Jr. asked the question. So he just wanted you to say him, pretty much, is what happened.
Yeah,
Yep.
I figured that out.
I love them.
Absolutely. So Lane, I don't see any more questions right now in the chat, but this is the part of the show we hand it over to you. Questions for Donnie or I, whatever it may be, shoot away. We love to answer whatever it is. We've had all sorts of questions been brought up, or just opinions that you're looking for from Donnie and I, and kind of whatever it may be. So I'm gonna hand the floor over to you, my man.
Oh, that's great. Like it says, maybe people I knew I was a late '80s, '90s softball player. But if you go back, you talk to a guy like Ronnie Zeman. One time I sat with him for 3 hours, and I was just unbelievable.
Right.
I remember him coming out pitching for Lettuce, and I'm like, where'd they get this old guy? And then he got 3 hits and shut us out. And I'm like, now I know where.
Right.
But he would talk about players, and he's just a great guy, full of knowledge and knows them all. Amalgam Monsters, Bobcats, Solbies. He knew them all. He played against them all. He knows them all. He's still involved. They go to lunch with softball guys. They still tell stories. But I think he'd be an excellent guest for you too.
Okay. That'd be great. We'll put him on the list, right, Donnie?
If you've got his contact information, or Jimmy, if you don't have it, Lane, we'd love to take that and have him on the show in the future.
I'll get it to you, no problem.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people we have on a list to come on the show. That list is growing weekly, which is awesome to see. We really want to get to everybody that we can. And then to your point, Lane, over the course of the summer, I think we have some cool things in store just to keep it relevant and to kind of keep it moving forward. So, it's going to be a fun summer. Donnie and I got a lot of softball to play, as you guys are aware, but at the same time, when we're not playing softball, we're going to be having a little fun. So
for sure.
That's fantastic.
For sure.
But Lane, do you have any questions for Donnie and I? Like maybe, who hit the golf ball farther, or
that's an easy one.
Donnie, you're going to have to take some dance lessons from Jimmy, from what I see. I mean, you did have props. I mean, throwing the shoes off was added touch to it.
Thank you.
But Jimmy's got the moves.
Come on.
I don't know. He's got the moves, but you weren't bad.
You
weren't bad. I shouldn't talk. I got 7 left feet, but
I was kind of shocked, Lane. I ain't gonna lie. I thought he was a lot better than I thought. That's for sure.
I'm gonna tell you that, like it says, I'm not saying you were bad. I'm just saying Jimmy was a little better, but you were pretty darn good.
I appreciate the compliment. I've gotten a bunch of texts already that say otherwise, so I won't hold it against you at all. But that's good. I'm glad that everyone is seeing that video. I'm glad that that's my reputation right now.
That's awesome. So Lane, you're looking, before we let you go, you're looking to coach for Iron this season. I know you're excited. Yeah. Your son will be out there. So just really quick, you guys plan on playing in the Forest Park and Melrose League? Is that correct?
Yeah, we're in both leagues again. Like it says, Danny, he doesn't shy away.
Right.
We got some young kids, and hopefully, I don't know if they all go back to college. I think most of them are seniors. I know one has another year of football, so I know he leaves like first week of August. Sure. But I think the other ones will be around. I think they're graduating. Hopefully, they don't go to grad school. We got important priorities like 16 in softball.
I hear you. Well, Lane, if you don't have any other questions for us, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to join Donnie and I today. I definitely appreciate that. I know that you have a lot on your plate. I know you're a family guy, and so just want to say thank you for coming on and spending a nice hour and a half with us. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything you guys are doing for the game. And this is fantastic because I know it was 70 degrees today. Now it's probably about 25 degrees. But it's great to watch these. I really enjoyed from the first one I saw you guys do at McGaffers until now. So I want to thank you guys, and hopefully the sponsors come rolling in, and you guys keep making it bigger and better because that's what you've done so far.
Yeah. We are looking to buy some equipment for the summer, and we're looking to get out there and do some kind of cool stuff. So, awesome. Little by little, we'll grow it, and we'll continue to grow the game and help along wherever we can. So we definitely appreciate your time, Lane. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, guys.
Lane,
Thank
Lane,
you.
thanks very much for jumping on, man. I appreciate it as always.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lane. So, cousin Donnie,
Yes, sir.
Lane I thought that was awesome, man, to hear some cool stories about the 80s, the 90s,
Yes.
early 2000s. It's just awesome to hear. We kind of made this our Hall of Fame month.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of
Right.
Hall of Famers on. We've had our ballot people on. And I think it's only the right way. I know March technically comes here Friday, but I think next week, we should have on some of the Hall of Fame board members. Maybe, like Mr. Jeremy Lafrano. I know he's on there. Chris
Yeah, Lafrano would do it. He's definitely going to be a future guest. I mean, next week would be awesome to have those guys on just to kind of stick with the theme.
Yep.
I could talk to Lane about softball forever, and I'm glad that he was able to be on for so long. And like I said, I love talking to him about softball, and didn't know until we started kind of doing the show how invested other guys were in Lane.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like people wanted to play on his team, and I've known Lane for the last 5 years of my life, and it's been a blessing, and it's great to see how far back he goes in history. Rich says Jeremy Lafrano has better hair than me. That's tough. That's tough to be able to get a full head of hair right now, Rich. You better watch your P's and Q's there. But I think Jeremy does have a really nice head of hair.
Richie keeps talking. I'm going to find him next week when I come down to Arizona.
Yes, sir. But yeah, that was a great time, Jim.
I know it. Definitely. Awesome interview. Awesome dude. And just a lot of great stories about legends of the game. So this leads me to our last thing of the night. This is something that we're going to start now moving forward. We're going to call it our Terrific Three. And what that is the Terrific Three, the top three picks from a gambling perspective, whether it be in the NBA or the college basketball. So we thought that it would be kind of entertaining, considering we're running a pool currently right now for the NCAA for March Madness. For those that don't know, I think we only have about 20 squares left.
Yep.
Huge props to Mickey Balestri for that, little Mick. He has totally taken the reign on that and has been selling squares left and right. So for those people that are interested, it's a $100 square pool. We've only got about 20 left, I think, 25 left. We really started it, I think, over the weekend. I mean, if I'm correct.
Probably been about a week, if that. So maybe 4 days.
So that being said, if you guys are interested, please let's get that thing sold out. 100% of the profits that we earn on that, we are going to put in a nice little, I guess you want to say bank account, and we are going to donate that money to the out-of-state teams that come in to help travel. So we're hoping to get Rismondo for nationals. We've heard great things from them. Hopefully we're able to get a couple Kansas City teams that I think, are going to be joining us in Iowa for Marshalltown. So that'll be awesome. Hopefully they have an incredible experience when they go to Marshalltown this year, May 31st through June 2nd. And then also we're hoping to bring in maybe the Psychopaths or Maple Street or some of those teams from Arizona. But either way, Donnie, if we can raise anything to cut costs down from hotels, maybe their rental cars, whatever it may be, that's why we're doing what we're doing. So
growing the game, right? That's the underlying. That's our goal, growing the game, and now we're doing it. And you guys can win money in the pool, and then watch these great teams come in and play in our tournaments. That's a huge win for both parties.
Yep, absolutely. So that leads us right to our Terrific Three. So I am going to start off in the NBA. My number one pick of the week is the over in the Denver game tomorrow. Okay. Over under is 230 in a hook. The reason why I say this, they're playing. Let me just pull up my notes really quick, Donnie, because I did some homework on this. So tomorrow they're playing the Sacramento Kings. Okay, they're at home. They're 7.5 point favorites. The average for the game, the average for the total for the game is 230.5. As I said, both teams over the last 6 games have averaged over 115 points. Okay. I think the game goes way over. I don't even think it's like a 240, 245 game. It's like probably like a 127, 119.
Okay.
Right? So that's my first play. The next 2 plays, we move to college. Okay. So let me get to my notes really quick. So tomorrow in college, you have a Marquette team that just came off an ass whooping against UConn. Okay. They play Providence. Providence is 18-9 on the season. But to my point, Marquette's at home. They haven't had a bad game at home per se, other than when they played UConn. Okay. But at the same time, the line's 10. I see that line going up to maybe 11, 11.5 at game time.
Okay.
I think Marquette probably wins by 12 to 15 points at home. All right. Marquette per se, they've been averaging over 80 points a game in their last 5. They're playing a team in Providence who kind of likes to run and gun with them. I just don't think they have enough shooters to hang with them.
Okay.
All right.
So Marquette minus 10.5.
Marquette minus 10 tomorrow. To Tim's point, I wanted to say this too. Providence's top player is actually out too for the season, so that actually helps a little bit, right? So I think they're kind of scrambling a little bit in regards to what they're looking to do. The next play, as I move over to the SEC, you have a team with Auburn playing Tennessee at Tennessee. I love Auburn's coach. I think Auburn plus 5.5 on the road is an absolute must play here. Auburn is coming off a win against Georgia. They did lose to Kentucky, but they blew out South Carolina by 40. Okay. I don't know if you've seen Kentucky. Kentucky's pretty good.
They're a good team.
They're pretty tall.
Yep.
I can see Auburn going in there, shutting down Tennessee a little bit offensively, and I could see them actually winning this game outright. So the 5.5 point spread, I'm going to take the Auburn Tigers with the points. All right. So
Auburn plus 5.5 versus who? Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, sorry.
Yep.
Just writing all these down so we can reference back to this next week, all right?
Correct. So we got over Denver 230. We got Marquette minus 10, and we have Auburn plus 5.5.
All right, sweet.
Those are terrific 3 for the week.
I like that. I'll have my picks next week, and maybe we can see who has a better record come 2 weeks from now.
That's completely fine. This is just a starter for it. So
I love
tonight's show, I thought incredible. I know we had a little issue early on, but we got you fixed over on your side. Usually it's on my side to start. So
yeah.
This is a first. But once again, Donnie, I don't think you have any questions for me, do you?
My friend, you got it. It was great seeing you today, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yes, absolutely. And no game this week between Signature and Hex, so there is no bet. So we will have a bet. Hopefully there won't be a game next week because I'll be out of town. But the following week, I'm sure we'll have a bet. So we'll have a lot of time. Maybe next week on the show, we can ask some of the fans what we can do. So no more dance. You're looking good, dude. No more.
Come on, man.
No more dancing Donnie, all right? So
Jimmy, I'll see you.
I'll see you, buddy. Enjoy.
Peace.